What do you like about buying of a site compared to the starting of a site?
Obviously, you're jumping ahead, maybe 6 months, you're kind of pulling that timeline forward a bit than if you were to start from zero. Also, generally, if you buy a site, you'll be buying some kind of earnings attached to it, unless you're buying a site that's making anything, which probably wouldn't do that. But yeah, I mean, you kind of speed the timeline a little bit, which has benefits, of course.
I'm all about proof of concept, buying something that's been proven already. Somebody else has
Right.
done the hard yards, hard work. Have you been through the process of starting things that haven't worked out as well as you thought they would, like starter sites?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I've started. Yeah, I would say my hit rate's maybe like 25 to 35%, somewhere in that range of
Which
like,
is exceptional, by the way, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, like it could be like trash. You could do like, yeah,
yeah,
I would say that my average is probably above, like baseball, like it's a decent average for what it is.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, to your point, buying something that's sort of established, Google has looked at the site, it likes how it's built, it likes the content. It's, you're obviously making money from the site, so the content that's on the site is generating revenue. There's interest there, so you sort of checked a lot of boxes when you buy an existing property versus like start from scratch, which has all of the same risks, but then
mm,
also all of the time. One thing that I say a lot to people who are thinking about getting into like SEO type centric web properties and blogs and things like that is the feedback loop is so slow. So if you start a site from scratch and you're not really experiencing it, maybe you like bought a course or something, you're like, oh yeah, I can do it, I'll save a bunch of money. You like make a bunch of wrong decisions. Like the feedback loop is so slow that you won't really know you've made wrong decisions until like 6 months from now, and then by then you're like, okay, super demotivated and like we're probably ready to go back to be a plumber.
yeah, I agree.
you
And the
know?
feedback is the most important thing. Feedback we get from our business, feedback we get from our life, in like what we should be doing, like what are the next steps that we should be doing, and that's what you can get. You're already tapping into data already from an established business. I'm sure you've got some stories of due diligence and things that you've learned when you've been looking at sites. I want to come back to asking you about some of the things you look for when buying a blog throughout due
Sure.
diligence. But what are for first time investors looking at blogs, what are some of the things that you would suggest being wary of? Like some of the things that you may have seen in blogs, like, oh, wow, they're doing this, some black hat stuff. And
Hmm.
what are some of the things that you've noticed in your journey of buying sites?
Oh yeah, 110% link profile is essentially, honestly, at the end of the day, if you cut away like 95% of the frill that you're buying, like the brand, blog, like the website structure, like how things are put together, and they might look really pretty, and there was a great graphic designer on it, and you might be buying all that, which you're like, oh yeah, you're super jazzed about, but really at the end of the day, when you're buying a property like a web, like a blog affiliate site, SEO centric site, the main thing you need to be focused on is the link profile, and by that I mean the backlinks pointing to the site, right? Like
Yeah.
that is essentially 95% of the failure of buying a site will become overlooking that. There's plenty of other things you need to make sure of, obviously, but
Yeah.
I've seen too many sites that just were like built on very shaky foundations, and the new owners didn't really understand. They thought the links looked great, whatever. Maybe somebody told them that. In reality, like the links were all bought links. They were
Mm.
all from sites just selling links as a business model, and then 6 to 8 months later, the site goes to zero because Google devalues all your links.